Hello everyone, thanks for coming. I'd like to thank Mr. Šantić for inviting me and my colleagues from MPX Studio for helping me create this interactive presentation with an amazing sound. I wasn't born as anything 3D or anything illustrative. I always wanted to create stuff, but I had no means other than pen or pencil paints, and it was quite limiting. Back when I was younger, we had no internet, so everything, such as tutorials, some social connection, any kind of role modeling was completely off limits for me for about 10 years after my high school. I finished electronics technician in high school, and then I worked as a marketing, and I worked as a pipe smith welder, and I was kind of stuck in it for a good 10 years. Things changed when the internet was more approachable by majority of people, and then I actually saw what I can do. Everything started about 6 years ago when I first tried out ZBrush, and I joined the DeviantArt community, and that's when I saw how good and how bad I was. So one breakthrough that kind of launched everything I started to become still. So they contacted me and they asked me if I would like to design one of their races. And I said yes, I would, but I had no knowledge about anything professional. So they connected me to their own 3D artists, and they kind of taught me everything I know today. After that, I learned 3D Max, and then I learned Photoshop. So in design, depending on what you need and what's the purpose of the model, in terms of how big it's going to be on screen, is it going to be animated, what's the general purpose, or is it a concept, is it a working model? You take some choices in terms of what program would you like to use first. Of course, there are exceptions, and everything is not set in stone. Basically, you need to adjust to the situation that is actually, whatever the purpose is, depending on, is it a studio, is it a commercial, is it a product. This particular model, I created in ZBrush, and I finished the illustration in Photoshop. This was created for an animated, long animated cartoon that failed, but I got to keep all my designs, and my NDO constrictions didn't exist, so I still own it. This I did for myself because I wanted to achieve a look that's 3D in 2D. So this way I kind of got away from 3D and started 2D illustration and concepting. This was also for the cover of animated toon. With this one, I concepted it in ZBrush and did the retopology in 3D Max. After it, I finished up rigging, and I also did some demo animations with it. This was done for a mobile game, Sumerian Space. It was also built as an in-game model and a 3D print. When you make stuff for 3D prints, you need to make them waterproof, as if they were real. So there must be no holes, and you need to pay attention to the thickness of walls, both for model stability and for pricing, because 3D printing is still way too expensive for more wider use. And this was an illustration for myself. I was inspired by Transformers and EVE Online. It's done completely in Photoshop. These barrels, there was a kind of a very loose concept for a game we were working on in FBX Studio. We decided to make this presentation to show you on a real live example about all things you need to be wary of when creating 3D game content. During creation models for 3D games, it's not only enough to achieve a design sense of beauty, you also need to make it practical, to make it optimal, and to make it believable to a certain point. So an average computer can start it and run it. During creation of this ball, we kind of had to make it smooth and make it planned in advance in terms of how it's going to be rigged, so the geometry doesn't destroy itself or parts of it don't enter into another part. It's got about 20 bones, and we have a surprise for you after this. So without further ado, if you got any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
If anyone have a question, I'll bring.
Where did you animate this?
This was animated using a software that our programmer wrote himself.
Oh, okay, so
It's
not
all-
Maya or something. Not Maya or something, or 3ds Max.
No,
Okay,
it
thanks.
was it's a bone-based skeleton, and it's done completely in Blender. After that, it's connected with this software. And it's not a standard keyframe; it's a processor-based actions.
Next question, please.
I created this video as a Kickstarter campaign for the Seven Space video game. I did everything: modeling, rigging, direction, design, rendering. So I had to use 3D Max, After Effects, Photoshop, and ZBrush at the same time. In the trailer, I needed to show the modability of spaceships that the game was about to feature. Also, each ship has a pack of 20, so extra parts that had to be portrayed in the trailer, so it would be false advertising. Everything was done in 3D Max in this animation, and After Effects was done with After Effects Adobe. From this point on, the video should move on to an in-game. But this one is my version that I have. The Kickstarter version goes on. Oh, it is. It's already. Sorry. Može. This was an exemplary animated design video I did to showcase the many options in terms of parts working along with the other parts while still creating a nice, coherent design. This was the drone I made for the Coberon film, but it remained mine. So since I had the model, I decided to use it further, which is the beauty of 3D. It's a little bit limited illustration, so you can use it overall for everything. I decided to put this model up for sale for DAZ, and I created this video to promote it. And also while I was creating that, I also practiced After Effects. This is my first more serious After Effects thing. I paid special attention to music, rhythm on video, and certain moments where the music kind of combined with the video. In the stealth mode that's about to come, the music stops. Since I had no friends that would work with music, I had to do everything myself. So it was kind of created by cutting out YouTube videos and rough setup in Camtasia. The thing about being a generalist is that you know a lot about everything, but you're not an expert in any of the specific areas. So I have to wing it a lot. Može ozir, prošlo. Može, tak, može. This is the same model, but in this case, I just learned lip sync.
Hello, guy.
So I used
Here we are.
this video to kind of practice if I could do it.
Stop.
Unfortunately, I never did anything else again. It takes a lot of time. It's not.
I'm not.
I had nothing out of it. So maybe one day.
I'm a ghost. Okay, I'm a ghost. No, I've been watching these other guys just coming around forever and ever. And like, is that really all there is in this after? I don't know, man, but these thoughts really get to me, you know? I'm like, fuck that shit, I want to possess it. One day I found this drone, just flying around. I can tell you right now, I fell in love with it. My mind was blown away by this line. I mean, look at that line. Check it out, man. All my friends say I'm obsessed with it, but I can have loads of fun and other stuff too. I like to throw my way, if you know what I mean. Oh look, a box. Wow, this is amazing. Oh.
I used the afterlife metaphor because I was too lazy to model actual surroundings. This was the first half tutorial I did because some people kind of suggested me and I didn't want to do it for a while because I thought no one cares about processes. Turned out to be the most viewed video in my channel. Also, I don't consider this a tutorial because it's not that technical. It's more of my flow and way of thinking while inventing new designs. First time I used official music and YouTube kind of banned it in some countries, so I couldn't just change the music, I had to take it down and use YouTube's music and then to re-upload it again. A lot of people ask me about this particular procedure. It's where I use transpose tools along with thick mesh and varying smoothness. still don't know what this is going to be. I never do. But the thing is that you play all the time. One negative thing about concepting in ZBrush first is it takes a lot of time. It takes a double amount of time to concept in ZBrush and later turn this into real topology in Max. So often than not, more than not, we go directly to Max and concept there. You don't have that much freedom, but it's a lot faster. So it all depends on the project that you're in. When turning these things into low poly, since it has an in-game use, you need to be well optimized, which means all the tiny details must be incorporated into normal maps, spectral maps, detail maps and such. At least until technology does it more strong than it is now. Možemo preskočiti. ZBrush is still my best program around. Feel most free and most versatile of them all. More of an artist tool than a technical tool, or an engineer's tool. Also, this is the first time, almost the first time I actually use ZBrush to do hard surface techniques. Way before, it wasn't made for that, but they really tried in Pixelogic. That was